Have you ever had that feeling that your money just disappears and you don't know exactly where it went? It may be that some everyday attitudes are sabotaging your finances without you realizing it. Small choices, such as not controlling expenses, keeping useless subscriptions, or even ignoring debt, may seem harmless, but they are actually delaying the realization of your dreams and compromising your financial future. In this video, we'll explore 7 common behaviors that drain you of money, often silently. If you want to understand where you're going wrong, learn how to correct these habits, and take an important step towards financial freedom, you're in the right place. Stay until the end, because some of the points we're going to discuss could be costing you much more than you imagine, and identifying this could be the key to transforming your relationship with money. Let's go. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on. 1. Impulsive purchases, the silent enemy of your money. Have you ever stopped to think about how your impulsive purchases could be sabotaging your financial life? Imagine the following situation. You are walking through the mall and see something that you don't need, but that seems irresistible at the moment. Without even thinking twice, you pull out the card and take it home. After a while, you realize that it wasn't that necessary. Sound familiar? This is the classic impulse buying pattern. This behavior is often guided by emotions. Whether it's because you had a bad day and wanted to treat yourself, or because that discount seemed unmissable, acting without planning can be costly. The problem is not just the money spent, but the habit that is formed. Repeating this pattern can lead to the accumulation of unnecessary items, disorganize your finances, and, worse, create a constant feeling of regret and guilt. Furthermore, advertising and digital marketing are designed to encourage this type of behavior. Flash deals, free shipping, and last units are strategies designed to pressure you into acting without thinking. This doesn't mean that you should stop buying things that bring you happiness, but it's important to assess whether this happiness is lasting or just momentary. One of the most important steps to avoid impulsive purchases is to adopt the habit of planning. Make a list before you go out to buy anything and, most importantly, stick to it. Another tip is to implement the 24-hour rule. See something you really want? Wait a day before purchasing. Often, this wait is enough to realize that you don't really need it. If the problem is related to online promotions, disable notifications from shopping apps and avoid browsing sales sites when there is no specific need. Blocking these distractions helps you stay focused on your financial goals. Finally, reflect on the impact of your choices. That immediate pleasure of buying something can come at the cost of realizing bigger dreams, such as a trip, buying a property, or even a peaceful retirement. Change starts with small steps, and the first is recognizing when you are acting on impulse. If you identify with these situations, it's time to act. Start controlling your impulsive purchases and see how it will transform your relationship with money. Are you ready to take this step? 2. Lack of a budget, the fastest route to financial loss. If you've ever felt like your money just disappears before the end of the month, you're probably living without a budget. Without clear financial planning, it is practically impossible to understand where every penny goes and, even worse, control your expenses. It's like driving on a road without signs. You may be moving, but you have no idea where you're going. The absence of a budget is one of the most common and, at the same time, most harmful mistakes when it comes to personal finances. Without knowing exactly how much is coming into and going out of your account, you lose the ability to make informed financial decisions. This leads to overspending, lack of savings, and often unnecessary debt. Furthermore, without a plan, you also won't be able to prioritize important goals, such as creating an emergency fund or investing in your future. The good news is that creating a budget is not complicated. Start by writing down all your income, that is, how much you earn monthly. Then, list all fixed expenses such as rent, electricity, and internet bills, and variables such as food and leisure. When you organize this information, it becomes easier to identify where you are spending too much and where you can save. Another powerful strategy is to set clear limits for each spending category. For example, you may decide that only 30% of your salary will go towards leisure expenses, while the rest will be divided between basic needs, investments, and savings. This way, You create a practical guide to manage your finances and avoid impulsive decisions that can unbalance your budget. But the most important thing of all is that a well-structured budget is not a prison, but a tool that gives you freedom. When you know exactly where your money goes, you can invest in what really matters to you without the burden of conscience that you are spending irresponsibly. If these tips make sense to you, leave a like. This helps me know that we are on the right path and motivates us to continue bringing more useful content to your financial life. Let's seek a more prosperous and organized future together. Now that you understand the importance of a budget, are you ready for the next step? 3. Ignoring debts, a mistake that can be very expensive. Have you ever stopped to think about the impact that debt can have on your financial life? Ignoring debt may seem like a quick fix to relieve pressure, but in reality, it's like trying to cover the sun with a sieve. They are still there, accumulating interest and becoming increasingly difficult to resolve. This behavior, in addition to harming your budget, has serious consequences, such as emotional stress, planning difficulties, and even relationship problems. What many people don't realize is that by ignoring a debt, you are in effect paying more for it. Interest is like a snowball. It starts small, but grows quickly, turning an initial debt into a real financial hole. And the longer you take to deal with it, the greater the impact on your budget. Additionally, the money used to pay interest could be being invested or saved to reach your financial goals. The first thing you need to do to resolve this situation is to face the problem head-on. List all your debts, including the total amount, interest rates, and due dates. This clear vision is essential for creating an action plan. From there, prioritize paying off debts with higher interest rates. It's what we call the avalanche effect. You reduce your total interest cost by focusing on the most expensive debts first. Another effective strategy is to renegotiate your debts. Financial institutions are often willing to offer better conditions, such as reduced interest or longer terms, so that you can pay. Don't be afraid to look for alternatives and show willingness to settle your outstanding debts. This not only facilitates trading, but also demonstrates financial responsibility. Now think with me. What happens when you start to resolve your debts? In addition to emotional relief, you free up resources to invest in long-term goals. Imagine what it would be like to use that money that goes every month to pay interest to build your wealth or make a dream come true. It seems much more motivating, don't you think? So I want to know, how do you currently deal with your debts? Do you prefer to face the problem or end up leaving it for later? Leave your answer in the comments, as I'm curious to know how you are facing this challenge. Let's find practical and intelligent solutions together to change this reality. 4. Ignoring small expenses, the invisible hole in your budget. Have you ever heard the phrase, from grain to grain, the hen fills the crop? Well, the same goes for money, but in this case, it works the other way around. Small daily expenses, those that seem insignificant, can add up to impressive amounts at the end of the month. The coffee at the bakery, the snack outside the home, or even that digital subscription that you no longer use. When accumulated, these expenses can be responsible for a considerable hole in your budget. The big problem is that these small expenses often go unnoticed. You pay without thinking because the value is low, but the lack of attention to these details prevents you from realizing the real impact on your budget. It's common to only notice the difference when you analyze your bank statement or organize your monthly bills, at which point you realize that you spent much more than you planned. To understand the impact of these expenses, do a simple exercise. Write down all your small purchases for a week. Did it add up to a lot more than you expected? Multiply this amount by 4, and you will have an idea of how much you are spending throughout the month. That's when the penny drops. It's not about never having that coffee again or allowing yourself a treat, but about controlling how much you're spending in these categories. The solution to this problem starts with awareness. If you know that small expenses are messing up your finances, the next step is to set clear limits. For example, if you like to buy snacks on the street, set a weekly or monthly budget for that. This way, you allow yourself to enjoy it without losing control. Another important point is replacing habits. If the daily coffee is too much, how about preparing yours at home and taking it to work? These small changes may seem insignificant, but in the long run, they generate significant savings and help you achieve bigger goals. Remember, It's not about cutting out all the little pleasures in life. It's about managing your money better. When you control smaller expenses, you can direct more resources to what really matters, such as investing, saving, or realizing a bigger dream. If you've already noticed that these small expenses are impacting your finances, why not start monitoring them today? Every step counts, and small changes can make a big difference in your pocket. Are you ready to take control of your small expenses? 5. Don't compare prices. A choice that can be expensive. Have you ever stopped to think about how much money you could be leaving on the table by not comparing prices before making a purchase? In a world where product prices can vary significantly from store to store, not researching prices is a mistake that can cost much more than we imagine. And what's worse, the difference can often be significant, especially on higher value items or frequent purchases. Imagine, for example, that you are buying an appliance. In the physical store near my home, it costs $1,000, but a quick online search reveals that the same item is available for $800 elsewhere. These $200 saved may seem like little at first, but when you add similar situations throughout the year, the values become impressive. The habit of not comparing prices is generally associated with haste or complacency. Many think, I'm not going to waste time researching. It won't make that much of a difference. However, this lack of attention can mean throwing away money that could be used to save, invest, or achieve a personal goal. Nowadays, with technology at our fingertips, comparing prices has never been easier. There are several websites and applications that help you check prices in different stores in just a few minutes. And that's not all. Buying online often offers advantages such as exclusive promotions, discount coupons, and cashback, benefits that many physical stores do not offer. Another smart strategy is to wait for promotions and special dates, such as Black Friday, to purchase higher value products. But be careful. Don't make the mistake of buying something just because it's on sale. The objective here is to save on planned purchases, not to justify impulsive spending. In addition to researching prices, it is essential to pay attention to the conditions offered. Sometimes, a product may have a lower price, but the shipping cost or unfavorable payment terms end up making the purchase more expensive. Pay attention to all the details before finalizing any transaction. By adopting the habit of comparing prices, you not only save money, but also develop a more critical eye for consumption. This helps you avoid unnecessary expenses and make more conscious choices. Ultimately, the time you spend researching is an investment that returns in the form of savings and greater financial control. Now tell me, when was the last time you compared prices before buying something? If you haven't already done this, how about starting with your next purchase? The impact on your pocket may be greater than you imagine. 6. Unused subscriptions. The empty in your pocket that goes unnoticed. How many subscriptions do you currently have? Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, meditation apps, gym? The list could be long. Now, how many of these do you actually use? It is very common to accumulate services over time, forgetting to cancel them, even when they no longer make sense for your routine. The result? Money leaving your account every month without bringing any real benefit. This is a more common problem than it seems. Subscription services were designed to make consumers' lives easier, but in practice, they can become a financial trap. The automatic payment model is convenient, but it also makes you lose control over where your money is going. And when you pay for something you don't use, you are literally wasting resources that could be directed toward more important goals. Imagine paying $50 a month for a service you don't use. In a year, that adds up to $600. Now multiply this value by 2 or 3 services that are in the same scenario. We're talking about significant amounts that could be applied to an emergency fund, investments, or even something that really brings joy and usefulness to your life. The solution starts with a simple analysis. List all your subscriptions. Check your bank statement and identify recurring payments. Then ask yourself, do I really use this? Is this service a must-have for me? If the answer is no, don't hesitate to cancel. You can reactivate your subscription in the future if you feel the need, but there's no reason to keep paying for something you're not taking advantage of. Another important tip is to avoid promotions that offer free periods followed by automatic charges. We often forget to cancel before the deadline and end up compromising our budget. Set reminders to review these promotions before the free period ends. Keeping only the subscriptions you actually use has a positive impact on your finances and helps you stay in control of your money. With each service canceled, you feel the relief of seeing your budget lighter and, best of all, you can redirect that money to something that makes more sense for your financial goals. 7. Neglecting investments. The failure that could cost your future. Many people believe that investing is something complicated, reserved only for those who have a lot of money or in-depth financial knowledge. This mistaken perception causes many opportunities for financial growth to be wasted. When you neglect investments, you are in practice failing to make your money work for you and compromising your long-term stability. Investing does not necessarily mean large financial contributions. Today, it is possible to start with small amounts and still reap significant results in the future. The magic of investing is time and consistency. The sooner you start, the more time you have to take advantage of the power of compound interest, which allows your money to grow exponentially over the years. Furthermore, not investing means missing opportunities to protect your assets from inflation, which erodes the value of money over time. Saving resources in savings, for example, is not enough to achieve significant financial growth, as the returns from this type of account are generally lower than annual inflation. In other words, money that is not invested is, in practice, losing purchasing power. Fortunately, the world of investments is increasingly accessible. There are platforms and applications that allow you to start with symbolic values, in addition to offering educational materials for those just starting out. From stocks and real estate funds to fixed income securities, there are options for all financial profiles and objectives. For those who are afraid to start, the tip is simple. Start small. Investing modest amounts reduces risks and allows you to gradually gain experience and confidence. This also helps to create the habit of investing regularly, which is essential for building solid wealth over time. When you stop neglecting investments, you open doors to a safer future full of possibilities. Every penny invested conscientiously today is a step towards financial freedom tomorrow. If you haven't started investing yet, it's never too late to change. The important thing is to take the first step and let your money work for you. We have reached the end of this journey of reflection and learning about how to avoid behaviors that sabotage your financial health. By identifying and correcting habits such as impulsive purchases, lack of planning, ignoring debt, underestimating small expenses, not comparing prices, maintaining unnecessary subscriptions, and neglecting investments, you can transform your relationship with money and build a more prosperous future. The most important thing is to remember that small changes can generate big results. Every step taken towards financial control is an investment in your well-being, in the realization of your dreams, and in the security of your family. The knowledge you acquired today is a very important step towards breaking out of the waste cycle and taking full control of your money. If this content helped you see your finances more clearly and motivated you to change your habits, be sure to support the channel. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next videos full of practical and transformative tips. Leave your like, as this helps a lot to reach more people who need this information. And of course, we want to know which of these points resonates most with you. Leave your comment below. Finally, share this video with friends and family. You could be the person who helps someone change their relationship with money forever. Let's build a more balanced and prosperous future together. Until the next video.